edition of the Metal Voice.
The Metal Voice.
This week,
yes,
those prog rock pioneers.
They're back.
They're back. The original duo, John Arch and Jim Matheos.
Yes, they're back.
From Fate's Warning, releasing Sympathetic Resonance.
Sympathetic Resonance.
For those of you who don't know, John Arch was the original vocalist of Fate's Warning.
Yes.
Night on Brocken, The Spectre Within, Awaken the Guardian, and then he left the band.
He left, actually. He went to go work as a carpenter, I believe.
Could be.
Yeah.
Now, at the time, if you're not familiar with Fate's Warning, John Arch's delivery and vocals were unique.
Helium rock.
Helium rock, Jim calls it. Very high pitch. Sounds slightly off key. Anyways, Fate's Warning continued in the prog vein and went on to release other influential albums. And again, this brings back the two pioneers, the lead guitarist and founder and driving force behind Fate's Warning, Jim Matheos. And John Arch is back on vocals. They did this little side project, 6 songs. The record clocks in at about 54 minutes.
Yes.
Jim, what do you think of this album?
I thought it was wonderful. I love his vocal phrasing. It's like this obscure time signatures that he's singing in. I mean, he's always singing that upper range, which could be annoying for some people who don't like his style, but for others, wow, he's a master vocalist.
If you listen, he's an acquired taste. It's like getting that first pint of Guinness. The first time you're like, I'm never going to try that again, but you have 2 or 3 pints, and the 4th one is fantastic.
After the 4th song, I'm the same way. Yeah.
Exactly. The musicianship on this, the music is unbelievable, bordering on genius, I would say. Again, Dream Theater would be the first to admit that they were influenced by Fate's Warning.
Yeah.
So there's the student following the teacher, but on this particular release, you can see many instances that were Dream Theater-esque. They sounded a little bit like Dream Theater. A lot of the guitars.
The student has surpassed the teacher.
That's right. It almost seems that way. So, again, being prog, there's not something you can listen to on the first listen and say, yeah, good, bad, or indifferent.
You have to invest.
This is something that's why, even though it came out 6 months ago, we're reviewing it now. Because you have to. It's like a fine wine. You have to let it age.
You know what? We're not like the other reviewers out there. As soon as the album's out, they just review it and then listen to it. And they just say, I love it, or I hate it. No, we have to sit back, invest. We invest. We invest. Like our money, we put in the bank. Well, we listen to the CD, we listen to it over and over again, and we go, you know what? Then we form our opinion 6 weeks later.
We got to live with it a little bit. Let it breathe. Open up that carafe of wine. Let it breathe a little bit.
Yes.
Same thing with this album.
Yes.
I've played it with different people. Some people, like you said, vocal-wise, they can't get used to it. Won't move past it. Other ones found it unbelievable, the music. I rate this a 9 out of 10. Like I said, it's got 6 songs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 songs, 54 minutes. Some of them range from 11 minutes to 13 minutes to 10 minutes.
You know what I'm happy about?
What's that?
You can count to 6.
You can count to 6.
All right. Go get it.
Go get this. Highly recommended. 9 out of 10 for me, Jim.
Same with me.
So go out, invest, Arch Matheos, and it's called Sympathetic Resonance. Jim, a little bit of holiday reading I enjoyed.
Wait a second, Alan.
What's that?
It's time out. We bring out the big nut.
Okay, get your nut out.
There we go. Here's the big nut.
He loves it.
Here's the nut. Okay, so what's in the big nuts today?
2 books I just finished.
Don't touch my nut.
2 influential guitarists, Tony Iommi.
Big nut. Let's put the big nut down. Might hurt somebody, but don't put it away.
Iron Man. My Journey Through Heaven and Hell with Black Sabbath by none other than Tony Iommi, and No Regrets, Ace Frehley. So 2 metal guitar gods.
So there's a parallel here because you have Ozzy with Iommi,
right?
And you have Gene Simmons with Ace Frehley,
Ace Frehley.
So we're getting 2 sides to both of the stories. So what are the similarities between the 2?
I mean, Jim, if you look at Iommi, you get his perspective. I mean, if you read Ozzy's books, you hear Ozzy in interviews over the years, very intimidated. Yes. Tony Iommi, an intimidating figure, wanted to control the band, and nobody had a say. It was only Tony.
Tony.
You know what? Tony speaks in this. The reason why he was intimidating, he had to learn to fight early, eat or be eaten. I mean, took boxing lessons and that. School.
And you know what? It's the same thing with Ace Frehley and his book.
That's right.
He was in a gang at the beginning, Ace Frehley, and he had to survive in the Bronx, just like Tony Iommi had to survive in his
Birmingham, yeah. So again, the reason why maybe Tony, he gives his perspective, he didn't want to be in the hotel room or in the studio while everybody's down having a pint at the bar, but being the guitar player, being the riff meister that he is, a lot of the songs fell to him.
Yeah.
So he would be out there, he'd be forced to come up with riffs. Sometimes the well was dry. He's the first to admit it. There's some albums he didn't know what he was going to write.
Yeah.
They particularly had a great time on Volume 4, but again, all the excess, all the drugs, it's all here. The same stories, a lot of same stories as Ozzy has. Bill Ward being a lot of the butt of a lot of jokes. But this, what's interesting for me, Jim, it goes past the Ozzy years, into the Dio years, into the Tony Martin years, what he's done since, all the way back to Heaven and Hell.
Ray Gillan, back to Glenn Hughes.
David Donato, Glenn Hughes.
At the lowest point of Black Sabbath.
Exactly. So a lot of it's little anecdotes about each album. So from that perspective, it's very interesting.
Okay, so what would you rate it out of? Like,
I'd say that's about an 8 out of 10. Ozzy's book, this was more dry humor, not as funny as Ozzy's books. Ozzy had a way of telling stories that were much more enjoyable. But
so you're saying his ghostwriter is less funny than Ozzy's ghostwriter.
That's what 8 out of 10. I enjoyed this book.
Just kidding.
Now going over to No Regrets, Ace Frehley, the spaceman, getting the spaceman's point of view.
I always hear Gene Simmons, his side, money, money, money. The band, kiss, 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 kiss credit cards, kiss coffins. What about Ace Frehley? I mean, where does he stand in all of this mad machinery of money?
Ace was there, enjoy life today because it might not be there tomorrow. Got hooked up because why? He wanted to be a rock and roll star. What do rock and roll stars do? They took drugs and drank a lot.
And he wanted to play music.
And he wanted to play music. So he started off with Kiss, being an important member. They encouraged him to write. He admits he was very hesitant to write. He didn't feel confident. He admitted, like Gene and Paul said, they wanted him to be a contributing member of the band. But again, when it started getting into that gray area that even Paul Stanley says they lost their way, looking back, where it was marketing, where the shows were coming, young children were coming with their grandparents, where the Kiss dolls were more important than the latest single, Ace just backed right out of that whole thing. He didn't want to be confrontational. His way of doing it was just to back out and let things happen.
And we can say, Alan, Gene Simmons was saying Ace is always late. Ace always misses his plane. Ace is never, rehearsing.
He let his drugs ruin his career.
But then if you look at Ace's perspective on this, the reason why he didn't show up, the reason why he was late, is because he didn't care anymore. Because he found that Gene didn't care about the music anymore.
It wasn't about the music
anymore. So he wasn't interested in the band anymore, and he was basically just going through the phases.
You get his perspective, which is, we've known Gene's perspective, if you read Gene's book like I have. You get Ace's perspective, which is a valid perspective. The way he saw things, it was always about the music, and when he saw things tending to go away from the music. But he's very honest. With Dynasty, which a lot of people thought was the beginning of the end for Kiss, he said it's not a bad album. He just didn't like I Was Made for Loving You because I was a little on the disco side, but more especially because his arm would get tired playing it, the chugga 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 chugga. So there's little anecdotes like that. And he's very honest. Stuff that I thought he would really dislike about the whole thing, he said, no, I had no problem with that aspect of it. So again, a lot of segments from his solo years are kind of left out. He admits he doesn't have the best memory. Drugs have taken their toll over time. All to say that he finds he's still an important part of the Kiss story.
Yeah.
And even though he doesn't agree with everything that Gene said or does, he gets along well with him today. And it's just a nice counterpoint to what we've heard over the years from Gene and
what would you rate that out of 10?
I'd like that. I'd say it would be 8.5, 9 out of 10 because it's an honest book coming from the original Spaceman's perspective. So
good.
2 good reads. Highly suggest them go out there from 2 great guitar gods.
Well, thanks for watching another edition of The Metal Voice, and we'll see you next time.